Have you realized that 99% of your system's latency might be due to accidental complexity? This video will look at a real-life example of accidental complexity to help explain what it is, and will provide a strategy for how to investigate how you can reduce potential accidental complexity. Firstly, to clarify the difference between essential and accidental complexity. Essential complexity is inherent in the problem that is being solved, the complexity we can't avoid, as it is part of what the software is aiming to address. For example, the time it takes to send an event from A to B. Accidental complexity is the complexity that is not inherent in the problem, but rather in the solution. This is the complexity that is not fundamental and can be removed or reduced with a better design or technology choice. Let's look at a real-life example, getting from St. Paul's Cathedral to Shakespeare's Globe in London. Driving requires an indirect route and has parking challenges in both places. Walking, on the other hand, offers a more direct route and hence minimizes accidental complexity. In this example, it is easy to grasp accidental complexity, but in the realms of low-latency systems, where latencies are invisible, it can be more difficult to understand. One way to make latencies more tangible would be to translate latencies into distances. For instance, Kafka's 99th percentile latency in a round-trip benchmark that took 2.6 milliseconds is the equivalent of sending a signal from New Haven to Washington, which is 330 miles. Reviewing the client Kafka's allocation rate, we found a substantial amount of garbage collection occurring, with Flight Recorder showing an allocation rate of about 6.5 gigabytes per second. This level is normal for most Java applications, but it's not essential and must be avoided when pursuing the lowest possible latencies. On the other hand, using Chronicle Q for the same benchmark, the 99th percentile latency was just 3.67 microseconds, almost 700 times less, and the equivalent of sending a signal across Battery Park. The allocation rate with Chronicle Q showed that most of the garbage was due to Java 8's Flight Recorder. With Java 17's Flight Recorder, this was dramatically reduced. Here we can see that open-source Chronicle Q in Java still has some accidental complexity in the higher percentiles. There are commercial C++ and Rust versions, and these have much more consistent latencies, well up into the 5 nines. Back to this comparison. As Chronicle Q was 700 times faster, or that the same task could be completed in 1% of the time, it indicated that 99% of the latency was accidental for the purposes of this benchmark. Determining the amount of accidental complexity is challenging, but a comparison between different strategies can provide some indication. Ultimately, any differences in completing the same task could be considered accidental. For more information on these benchmarks or on Chronicle Q, visit chronicle.software/Q.